why is he staying, right? Why is he sitting through this whipping on the back with a whip that has thorns on it? For better or for worse, wedding vows. Um, we see it all the time, right? Like most of us have attended a wedding or two where, you know, we see the groom and the bride, right? Basically professing their promises to each other, promises that they plan to keep um, while they are married, right? Now, let's talk for a second about traditional wedding vows. I actually pulled it up here just so so I can be a little bit more specific. But traditional wedding vows, pretty much the type of vows a lot of us have heard about. It's like the basic template people use for a vow. But, today people are very creative in the way they say their vows. So people don't go with the traditional vows all the time. But I wanted to use this because most of us are kind of familiar with it, right? Where it says, I take you for my lawful husband or wife to have and to hold um, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, um, until death do us part, right? So when we're looking at the basic traditional vows, we definitely, feel like, okay, like these are the vows. But how many of us really take each word seriously, right? By the way, disclaimer, I do not have the marriage experience. So I am not sitting here speaking as someone who has been married, right? But this is more of an introspective discussion on, well, what are the expectations when you get married, right? When you know, put these vows out there, when you make these promises, right? What does that mean exactly? Um, yeah, like it's a question people who are not married, right, should ask themselves. So I am asking, what does that mean to you, right? What do vows really mean to you? Um, Recently, there has been a plethora. When I say plethora, I mean you've all seen it, right? A plethora of divorce going on around Hollywood. I feel like this was the summer of divorce. Like, who didn't get divorced, right? Everyone talked about, Genie and Jeezy, right? And then, um, there was one of the Jonah brothers and, his wife. Um, and then there was the guy that played Wolverine, kind of forgetting his name right now, but him and his wife also got divorced. um, and then, there's a lot happening just in relationships, right? So, one of which everyone and their ancestors is talking about is that of Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, right? Um, Everybody has basically said everything there needs to say. But the one thing I do not see being said is this D for better or for worse? Is this what that looks like? You know? In an interview that she gave, which, is pretty much out there, she says that, they have been separated for maybe 6 or 7 years. You know, they've been separated, essentially divorced, but not divorced on paper is how it was put, right? Um, she did mention that she had promised, in the beginning of her marriage that she would never give, Will a divorce. Like that just wouldn't be a part of the plan, right? Um, to me, I feel like if I heard that from uh someone I was getting married to, like when you're still in that honeymoon phase and everything sounds good and everything looks good and someone says, "You know what? I love you so much. I will never give you a divorce," right? You would love to hear that. um but, maybe there is more to that, right? Like if someone really truly stuck with their word of not divorcing someone, um maybe this is what it would look like, right? Like those vows said, right? For better or for worse, right? So my question really is where where is your worst, right? Everybody can stay in something when it's good, when it's lovely and you're so in love and you're doing a lot together and it looks so great, it feels so great, love is beautiful, right? But what happens when it gets ugly, right? Ugly, not in terms of, your life is at stake. Now you need to get you need to get out. um, but ugly where it's like you don't really want to be a part of it, but you've made these vows, you've made these promises. Let's say you've even promised, when you make promises to each other, I feel like that extends to your children and it extends to their family, but most importantly, your kids, right? So a part of me wonders if that was the type of promise, right, that was made during Will and Jada's wedding, right? During their marriage, like the early times of their marriage. Um, where it was decided like, hey, we're a unit, for better or for worse, we're gonna stick it out, like for richer or poorer. Oh man, dude. I am just I mean, like everybody else, I'm pretty flabbergasted by the things I have been hearing on the news, the things I've been hearing Jada say. But, you know, the truth is, it looks like even though she is saying these things, she has the support of her family. Now, everybody else hates it. The people who are not in their relationship hate it the most, right? So, all of us on the outside looking in, we hate this so much. And we feel as though she is just the worst person ever, and that Will is basically this victim. Um, because Will seems to be, trying to keep his privacy. And Jada seems to be, running around telling all their laundry, like things nobody thought about, things nobody cared about, She just wants everybody to know these things, right? Now, a part of me, thinks that this is all strategic. Maybe since the slap happened, things just haven't been the same, like in terms of earning money. Maybe Will hasn't, has had as many jobs, right? Um, things just haven't been going right for a long time. And I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the background. We just don't know, right? What if there is some, I don't know, bankruptcy going on, right? And they're just like, you know what? We got to do what we got to do to make this money. We got to do what we got to do to get this bag, right? Um, and Jada truly strikes me as that kind of person who, you know, she loves her family. I feel like she does love her family, her kids, her mom, even Will. But I think that when it comes to, the earnings and keeping, you know, the family's name in people's mouths. Like, she's like, okay, I got this. I know how to stir up shit so that we can make some money, so that we can be relevant. Um, so I feel like that's what she's doing. But my main point here is, when is enough enough, right? Like, also, my main point is, when do we just keep going? When it comes to, when you've promised something to someone and you've made these vows, right? Um, do you give up? Everybody's suggesting that Will should divorce her. Will shouldn't take this anymore. Will has been emasculated. There's so many things going on out there. But that same Will was in her video that I think she posted that today. Either today or last night, but her video where she was kind of like sharing with her family, oh wow, the first order of the books came, and her new book that's coming out called Worthy, right? Guess who's standing right there? All of her family. The kids, her mom, and Will is back there. They are all holding the book. They are all excited. It's a family moment. So I feel like that was posted to let people know, like, hey, like, we're all in on it. Like, Jada is not just doing it on her own, but the whole family is in on this thing, including Will, right? So a part of me wonders if this is just part of that, period in a marriage where it may not feel great and it may feel like it's hurting, especially for those looking in from the outside. It just looks like it's hurting a lot. But maybe for them, it may not be hurting as much. It may not be hurting Will as much, right? Like, this is just part of a phase they have to work through together. Another theory that I kind of had was, there must be some deep, dark secret that Jada has over Will. And essentially, if he even budges out of this marriage, it's over. And he will be completely done. Like, we think he's done now. We think he's getting dragged and embarrassed now. But something tells me, theory wise, that there may be something else. Why is he staying, right? Why is he sitting through this, whipping on the back with a whip that has thorns on it? That's essentially how it feels. Like, we all feel so bad for him, but a part of me is like, what will give anybody, right, a reason to sit through something like this and not get out? One of it, again, is the for better or for worse theory. Maybe, they're like, what, we gonna stick it out for better or for worse. We're not divorcing. We have too many things together. We love each other. This is just gonna be a phase, right? Now, some people, as soon as the going gets tough, as soon as the going gets tough in their life, they bounce, right? They're like, nah, I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for this person to be saying this about me, or to be doing this, or to be, or to want to live our lives like this, right? Because once you get married, it's no longer your life, it's our life, right? It's the life of your family, your husband, things like that, your kids. So, maybe that's what's going on. This is just a phase. And, 20 years from now, they'll just look back like, dang, like, that was a crazy time and we made it through. you know, like despite the craziness, they've agreed that, you know what, you're my person. And even though I hate what is going on right now, I trust you and I trust that we will get through this and we will work through this. So potentially that could be what they are doing. Now, I don't know what happened with Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. They were only married for a couple of years. That could be an example of, hey, like things got really, really uncomfortable and I just didn't want to deal with it, right? But at what point, again, do you say, you know what? This is part of my vows, right? Like I made these vows. I promised to protect. I promised to cherish. I promised through sickness and in health. I promised, through thick or thin, um, for better or worse, right? Like, when do you give it that length of time, right? For better and for worse, right? Because that's the tough part. You know, like I said, everybody wants to be there when it's good. But when it goes bad, like, do you just buckle and run or do you just stay through it, right? Some people will say it just depends. If you're getting your ass beat, you got to leave. I mean, there's nothing funny about that. Nothing. But there are certain circumstances that will require you to leave and protect your life. But something tells me that for a lot of marriages, sometimes it's just something simple that they could have worked out. But someone just wanted to be strong-headed. Maybe it's an ego thing. They thought they could find something better. As I said that, I'm thinking of Tia Mari. That's also another, situation in divorce land. But I don't know, like, should people just realize that when you marry someone, you're just going to go through different phases and that's okay. Like I said, as long as your life is not being threatened, that's okay. Yeah, your your stress levels might, go through the roof, but maybe there's a discussion that needs to be had with the partners, right? With both people and talk about, hey, like, what are we doing here? Communicating what the plan is. Like, how do we resolve this? How do we make things better? At the end of the day, your partner is meant to be your peace, right? And you want them to work on that, right? You don't want to be coming home and fighting for your life, which everybody feels like Will is kind of low key doing, but potentially they may have had a discussion about this. Like, hey, we're about to, we took a break after the slap, but we're about to get back. We're about to get back in the ring. But we can do this. We're trying to make some money. Potentially, we could make millions of dollars selling this book. And it's more of a business decision. I love you. Oh, Lord. Anyway, that's my take on it. I really want to know what you think in regards to this for better or for worse statement when it comes to marriage, whether you're married or not. I feel like everybody's opinion matters, right? Like, what you say could add value to the conversation. So definitely let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, looking forward to talking to you on my next video essay. All right. Bye.